Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Monday Mashup. As always, joining me tonight, our resident referee, but donning the red of Man United, not the black referees outfit. Marky, how are we?
Well, I could change into the referee's gear after the result yesterday.
There was some mad ones, wasn't there?
Oh,
Some
stop,
mad
stop.
ones this weekend. Not
Well, they
not
don't.
least around not least around Trent Alexander-Arnold, huh?
Well, we can talk about that in a while. I've seen a
We
few
will.
different angles of it.
Yeah,
It's getting tougher.
absolutely.
These calls are getting tougher, especially when you're trying to
Yeah.
enforce the law. But sure. Anyway,
Yeah, I still think it's what we keep on talking about week in, week out. That level of aggression that they've been advised to allow,
hmm.
and it's where it crosses the line and stuff like that. So,
So you seen the
I've
Forest game, Forest and Bournemouth, wouldn't it? Or Forest and
Brentford.
Brentford. Sorry, there could have been. There was 4 or 5 different. Yeah, there was definitely four, like two of them,
Yeah,
but one of them was the exact same as the Bruyne's one, the one on Brennan Johnson,
I have a lot
the
to say
exact
about
same.
that game tonight. By the way,
The
that
Forest
game
one.
cost our viewers on the beat the bookie. That late goal cost me both the Saturday accumulator, which was a tidy
Oh,
bet, and also it cost me the treble.
no
Believe it or not. I
way.
had Brighton, Brentford, and Leicester in the treble, and I had
96
Leeds,
minutes.
City, Brentford, Brighton, Leicester
Oh
in the
man.
accumulator. Yeah, so it was a tidy
96
little win
minutes.
that was coming in for the charity. So hang your heads and
Uh,
shame, you Forest fans. You cost our charity bet this week. Terrible, terrible, terrible,
keep
but close.
keep Cooper in his job for another week or two, anyway.
I don't think they're in any hurry to get rid of him. That's the problem. I don't think
Yeah.
they're in any rush. Anyway, let's get in. We're going to do a Premier League preview. Then we're going to have a quick chat about the Champions League draw today. We'll touch on the Europa League one as well, and then we'll get into the football news because the world has gone crazy today in terms of football. So let's
Absolutely.
begin with the weekend. So we start off with Leeds 4, Bournemouth 3. What a game!
Mad game, wasn't it? It was like just you attack, we attack, you attack, we attack. Fair play to Leeds. You know, they went when they went 1-0 up, and then Bournemouth got back into a 2-1. Um, they were obviously missing Bamford. He picked up a knock in training as well. So, your man Somerville, as you well know from last week, because he looked so lively, so lively. Um, but I will say Leeds scored 4, but like you look at it, they've no defence. Anytime Bournemouth went on the attack, you felt like they were going to score. Now the keeper obviously kept them in it. Remember that 1-on-1, the break, the counter attack Bournemouth got. Um, Now I know Dazzler's out, mate. Cooper scored. The man from Minutes, Mark Travers, I thought should have done a lot better with that header. In fairness, like you know,
Yeah,
um, but yeah, fair play. It was listen, Ellen Road as it always was hopping on Saturday, and it was a great win. And you know they took the
yeah,
confidence from last weekend, the Liverpool game, and brought it into it,
yeah,
and
yeah.
got them over the line.
Jimmy Somerville from Bronski Beat, no longer the small town boy, hits the winner. Huh?
I know,
Hits the winner.
actually,
What about Bournemouth? 2 weeks on the trot now after dropping the
yeah,
points, dropping the ball,
yeah.
as they say, you know. Um,
Your man Tavernier played well. With Billing, your man Philip Billing, he's an unreal player. The goals and assists he's gotten this season, he was doing that in the Championship last season. And I suppose the question is, when a team like Bournemouth comes back into the Premier League, is like, will those players be able to step up? And Billing has definitely done it for me. He's been excellent for them, you know.
yeah, absolutely. Acers in the comments. So strange to see DT back on YouTube today. Yeah, it was really strange. I was just looking at it before we jumped on. I don't know if you've seen it, Marky. You know DT from AFTV. You
Yeah,
know,
Arsenal fan
he got
TV. Yeah,
into it. He got into a lot of trouble, domestic trouble and stuff like that. Ended up in prison, and
I've seen
he's
that.
back
Yeah.
out again now. But he's back up on YouTube, back on his Mr. DT channel again. So
Oh, okay.
he was just he was talking today about the situation with AFTV and stuff like that. I don't really have an opinion on it. It's more an Arsenal type thing and stuff like that, you know. So
I think a lot of the
um,
fan base don't even like it anymore. It's gotten too kind of mainstream, wasn't it? You know, with
yeah, I
Robbie and
think
stuff
it's
like
that as
that.
well. But I think there's some stuff coming out there in the wash that AFTVs, I think at the time said they weren't actually aware of the situation, but
Okay.
according to DT today, he said they were fully aware of it and that,
No way.
Robbie had written a reference for the court and all this type of things that they clearly knew. But
Ooh.
who knows? It's two sides to every story, but
Yeah,
who
yeah,
knows? But yeah,
exactly.
it was weird to say him. I have to say, you know, apart from all the stuff that went down was crazy and he's done his time and stuff like that. But I mean, you know, he was extremely entertaining on those AFTV videos and stuff like that. He certainly he generated my interest in kind of social media football creators and stuff like that back in the day and stuff like that. So
I used to love your man. You know the old lad who passed away. What was his name?
Claude.
Yeah,
it's time to go. It's time to go.
He used to be there with his Arsenal hat and his bottle of Coke in his hand. He used to be very cracked.
Yeah. He was very good. R.I.P. Claude, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Zin, Manchester United. Yeah, absolutely. Man City.
I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
Yeah, Man City. Another late show. 2-1. What did you make of this panel? This was shocking.
Yeah, I'll just say before I start, Alvarez, what a finish. What an absolute finish, man. And, you know, fair play to Fulham. You always find it hard to play against City, but in particular, you think it'd be easier with 10 men, but it doesn't seem to be easier to play against 10 men City, you know? And what I will say is, anytime you see, like, Fulham could have been 2 or 3-0 up there on Saturday, and you'd still think that City would go on and win the game, and you always know they have a late goal in them. The first one I thought was offside. The one that was ruled out initially, I thought was offside, but it's very hard for the assistant referee to call it because it's one of those where his big toe was offside. But yeah, like I just said there, I thought it was. It's the exact same as Brendan Johnson, and Brendan Johnson wasn't given, and that one was. I don't like the way De Bruyne went down like he had been shot in the leg. I hate seeing that in players, but listen, if you're a City fan, you're delighted with it. But to me, it wasn't a penalty. Definitely not a penalty, especially the laws that the FA introduced at the start. Well, not the laws, just the initiative that they introduced to see a more physical game, and then you're seeing stuff like that, and you're thinking, especially
it's like if the refs see like the high profile players, let's say, and you know someone like Kevin De Bruyne, and they probably look at him and go, he's such an honest player and a great player. He'd hardly pull the wool over our eyes. But then with VAR and everything else, it should be very clear. If there was any contact at all, it had to be very, very minimal. Yeah. He went down like his ankle was snapped in two. Like
100%. 100%. You know? And listen, that moment undone all of Fulham's good work throughout the 96 minutes or 94 minutes, whatever it was, when it was given. Listen, like I said, there has to be more. We've spoken about this on so many occasions. There has to be more consistency, but unfortunately, it's in the opinion of that referee that's in charge at the time. And as we all know, it even varies with the lads who are in VAR and the referees on the field of play. Yeah. So, unfortunately,
isn't it mad that we're thinking 2022 VAR in full flow and in the opinion of the referee? It's crazy.
And not only that, because it's as well. It's in the opinion of whoever's in charge of VAR. So, like, there's decisions over the weekend. Like you seen the Henderson one, the referee didn't give it, and then he was told to go to the screen. And you know as well as I do, the minute they're told to go to the screen, you know the decision's going to be overturned. You know exactly. 100%. So it's in that person's opinion, whoever it is, and we all know all opinions differ all the time. So
although am I right in saying, was there one at the weekend where the ref went to the screen and he didn't give it in one of the games? Wasn't there? Wasn't there one at the weekend? One of the refs
was it Wolves? No, Wolves did. That Lewis Duncan was given, wasn't it?
I'm not too sure. There was one I'm nearly sure there was one at the weekend, I think, where it was overturned. I'm not sure now.
Maybe someone could drop a comment in there and let us know.
If someone knows, if someone can remember, I'm nearly sure someone the ref's gone to a screen and he didn't give it. Acer's back in the comments. Fulham will beat United on Sunday.
You mightn't be wrong, Aces. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't know what the story was with Mitrovic. Do you know when he's going to be back, or what's the story?
No, I haven't heard anything on it. And Eno was in the comments. Ian Hodgins, how are you, Eno? Good to hear from you. I was talking to Eno earlier. He's only back. He had a week in Belgium there with the family. Had a great time. All good. What's the crack? I'm back. Absolutely. And Acer's back in the comment. The West Ham game, that was the one. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well done, Acers. Yeah, he went to the screen and he didn't give it. Yeah, so like now they're few and far between. That's one that I hadn't seen one in a long, long time, so I don't know how many they've given.
Nature's out for 3 weeks.
Out for 3 weeks. Oh, and France. Eno was in France as well. Yeah, he's out for 3 weeks there. Gordon Hayes was nice. Forest and Brentford. This is the one that killed our beat the bookie charity bet. So you can take this one. I don't want to take this one.
Yeah, it was a mad game. Obviously, it started off Gibbs with his first goal. It was a great finish. But then there was just so many inconsistent decisions and decisions that, like, if I was Henderson, I'd be freaking out like he was. And you seen his reaction even after the penalty was scored. He was lucky not to have gotten a second caution and a possible sending off, which I thought would have been harsh. But oh my God, man, what you look at some of the decisions. Like I said, the De Bruyne one's exactly like the Johnson one. Just inside the box, and you're looking at it going, if you give one, you have to give another. But like I said, it goes back to the opinion of the referee. But yeah, I thought the last one where there was a trip inside the box, people were saying they thought that would have been the one that was given. But I looked at the replay. It looked like Ben Mee was actually trying to pull his leg away, and the Forest player, who was it, went down. And so for me, it wasn't a good day. Well, listen, it wasn't a good day for the groundsman either. Did you see what happened at the start of the game?
Yeah.
What the hell?
Mental.
Now, listen, it is in the Premier League rules that you can only have 10 minutes in the box, but that was mad. He hit him with the pitchfork. Did you see it? What the hell? But like you said, 96 minutes, some scenes at the end, the ball went over the line. Obviously, there was a bit of a call for the offside, and the Forest player wasn't interfering in the line. So obviously he's behind he is in an offside position, being behind the goalkeeper, but he wasn't interfering with play, so the goal was given. But yeah, it was some end to the game.
Yeah, it was an absolute sickener. And I just want to make the point that the FA investigation into Ivan Toney about gambling practices is absolutely nothing to do with our beat the bookie or our charity bet. I'm just putting that out there.
Does he not go under a different name? I thought he was Cheap Heat Productions, no?
Morris?
Yeah, was Tony not using that name, no?
Maybe, who knows? Acer's back in the comments. Where's tennis ball boy Darren? He's missing in action tonight. He has other business to take care of. So myself and Mark are holding on the fort on this.
He's having some juice. He's having some juice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's in love.
Yeah. There, Man United 2 goals first half, and that. Not a prediction. That's a spoiler. Yeah, absolutely.
What game is this for? Tomorrow night against Villa or Fulham?
I'd say he's probably talking about the Fulham game. That's where they're coming up above. It'd
be a tough game on Sunday. Very tough game. Fulham, Silva hasn't playing a good tune at the minute,
Wolves 2, Brighton 3.
Jesus.
For back-to-back good wins for Brighton.
Yeah, it is. Listen, Sonny March, I thought had a really good game. Wolves, obviously not. They're missing a striker really, and for them to score 2 goals, I thought they did very well. I thought Nathan Collins got caught out a bit too much though for my liking. He gave away that free and Welbeck, and he was just caught out position too many times.
He hasn't been the same player really since the suspension. Sure, he hasn't. Since he came back off that red, he's been a little bit iffy, hasn't he?
He's been shaky, all right. Absolutely. Like we're used to seeing him. Been a lot more sturdy. I watched him at Stoke. I watched him at Burnley. He's a solid defender, and there's a reason why he's the most expensive Irish player to play in the Premier League. He has that talent. Like I've as you well know, because I refereed him at League Slip United when he was with League Slip, and he was a baller, man. He could play. He's centre half. He used to play in a kind of CDM role for League Slip as well. Then got to move to Cherry Orchard and he was only with Cherry Orchard a season and a half, and then he picked up the move to England. But yeah, I don't know what it is since he got that send off against ourselves. He's come back and he's looked terribly shaky,
Yeah, but prior to the sending off, he was one of the best in the league at the time on form.
Yeah, no, he's been solid, man. He's a proper centre half. Like I said, I've seen it firsthand, and hopefully he gets back to the form he had showed previously. Hopefully when the new manager comes in, I think the new manager's coming in after the World Cup, isn't it? So it'll be like he'll have a month or so with the players, the likes of Collins that aren't going to the World Cup, that he can work with, and hopefully that will do him well.
Yeah, I'd say he'll probably be in before that. I think they appointed him the other day, didn't they, Lopetegui?
They did, but I
Yeah.
think obviously his first official game be Boxing Day or whatever,
Yes.
or
Yeah,
Stevens's Day,
absolutely.
whatever way you want
Yeah.
to look at it. And so he'll have a month or so within the club to settle in, and obviously
Yeah.
use the players that aren't at the World Cup for a few training sessions and stuff like that. And
Mm.
just like I said, setting him into his surroundings. So I think the World Cup for him has come at a good time that he's been able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Acer's back in the comments. Villa will knock United out on Thursday. I don't see Eric Ten Hag allowing Villa to do a double on them in a week, being honest.
Yeah,
But
no,
it'll be interesting to see.
there'll be a few changes and all. I reckon we'll just get over the line against Villa, but we'll
Yeah,
go on to talk about them in a few minutes. Anyway.
yeah, absolutely. Also back in Real Madrid all over the shop at the moment, drawn 2-2. Okay. Yeah, I hope they're still all over the shop come February with a bit of luck.
You never know.
Next up, Everton Leicester. Leicester winning 2-0. The James
Yeah.
Maddison show. How is this guy not in the England squad? How
Well, you
is he not
seen?
one of the first
I
names?
know. You seen the interview after? He obviously it's on the back of his mind day and night. I'd say he's probably
Mm,
not being able to sleep over it as well. But
yeah.
he was excellent. He was excellent to Goodison the other night. And but listen, Tillman's goal. He's having a goal of the season competition with himself at this stage. The amount of crackers he's got this season,
Yeah.
it's a player who I thought you would have went in for. If I'm being honest with you, during the summer, it's a player that you could deal with. It's a player we could deal with as well. But
Could
yeah,
still happen in January.
yeah, you never know, and he'll have a good World Cup, I'd say as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, Madison was excellent, man, excellent.
Mm,
His part, we know what he can do on set pieces, but his passing, his awareness, and if you watch him, he actually makes space for players around him as well. He's probably one of the standout players for Leicester this season.
yeah.
I suppose it's not hard. Him and Tillemans are up there, like, and Harvey Barnes be behind him
Barnes.
because Vardy hasn't been at the races at all this season.
Yeah, Vardy looks like he could neck 10 Red Bulls, and it's his days of doing that are exhausted at this stage. I would
Exactly. But
imagine. Then we get into Sunday, and what a Sunday we had. Chelsea 0, Arsenal 1. Chelsea absolutely all over the camp at the
I
moment.
don't know what the story is there, man.
It's
Aubameyang
just
is non-existent, isn't he?
midfield non-existent, Aubameyang non-existent, Havertz trying but not really at the races. Thiago Silva trying to do the job of three lads at the back.
But in fairness, the Arsenal I thought played very well. I genuinely thought it was a penalty, the handball, Cucurella. I thought it was inside the box just about. I've seen them given. I know we always say that, but fair play to Arsenal. They're rolling the punches. They're keeping up with City. Well, obviously, you see they're over City, but
some would say City are keeping up with them.
Exactly. You know what? Like, you just think that. I know it's bad. I know they're top of the table now, but you always just feel City are going to win it. If that makes sense, it's nice to see Arsenal there and all. Arsenal over the last few years tend to kind of drop off around February time, so it'll be interesting to see will that happen this season as well. But yeah, no, I thought they played very well, and even going back last week, your man Nelson that came on looked absolutely unreal, didn't he? Like,
absolutely.
I seen a stat only 2 people captained them in the whole world in fancy football last week, and he came off the bench and he got, was it 2 goals and an assist or something like that?
2 people captained
2 people in the whole world. Mad.
That is mad. How did he even think of it? That has to be know. 2 lads that set up a team at the start of the season and they've never changed it.
Yeah, or it's probably his 2 brothers or something.
Yeah, or maybe him.
Yeah, cool.
If he's allowed to play. Acer's back in the comments again. Don Carlo will be delighted with Liverpool draw. Yeah, he will, but it'll be interesting. I don't know, on a one-off game in a final or something like that. Yeah, I would think so. On a 2-legged affair, I'm not too sure. I know the first leg is at Anfield. We'll be talking about it in the second part of the show anyway, so it should be interesting. Back in the comments again. Yeah, Man United. One of his mates that he lost, Paul Bradshaw, there a while ago, was a big United fan and stuff like that. So we always think about Paul when we're doing the shows. And Acer's back in. Yeah, all teams to score in 5 Premier League games, 25-1. Yeah, we had it in the beat the bookie, so it was Chelsea that let us down on the Sunday. All the others came through. And also back again, if Arsenal can get 4 points against City, they have a fantastic chance of winning the Premier League title. Absolutely.
They do, 100%. I just think the only thing, and we've spoken about on this before, strength and depth. City could feel 2 or 3 times, and teams, and obviously Arsenal are kind of lacking in strength and depth at the moment. So
owners have to go out and strengthen in January. Give them every chance to win at this time,
Absolutely.
Then the somewhat shock of the weekend, Villa 3, Man United 1. This was a craziness.
Didn't see that one, Buzz. I think I must have fast forward that one. I'm sure I'm watching today too. Now listen, I'll talk about United in a sec, but fair play to Unai Emery for coming in, and it looks like he's done a job and stuck a fire up their backsides, because the Villa have looked, even like, I know they won 4-0 at the first game after Gerrard left, but like, I spoke to my dad on Saturday and I said, exactly what Ace said there. I said, when a new manager comes in, the team always up their game 100%, and it's going to be tough. And listen, Villa Park is an old school ground. It's tough to go to on the best of times. The place can be bouncing, and obviously with the 2 early goals, we were brutal at the back. Martinez, Blanchard did all right, but the rest of them, no. Listen, Ronaldo's legs look like they're gone as well. But listen, like
United looked really tired, didn't they? It looked like Thursday was catching up on them, because I think they tried to do their best on Thursday to top the group with the goals and stuff like that, and it looked like they had ran themselves into the ground. Having said that, Darren always says it about Aston Villa. There's a very good team there in Aston Villa. If you just play it in the right formation with the players in the right positions, it will yield results. And that's basically what Emery did. He came in, he played a straight up 4-4-2. And he put the lads in there. He put the lads in their playing positions, and there you go. It's amazing what can happen.
Was it Bailey and Watkins up front, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It just shows you, though. It just shows you, like, he's only been in there a few days with them training, and like I said, it helps when the crowd in Villa Park are unreal, especially with the 2 early goals. I just felt when I seen the team, I know I said United's 2-0 that on Thursday, but then I seen the team, and then I thought, like I said, I spoke to my dad on Saturday, and I was saying about Emery coming in, and there'll be a buzz around the place, and that's exactly what happened, And we've another tough game against Fulham. We should have taken advantage. Obviously, we didn't know in the afternoon that or the evening time you would beat Spurs. So when you look at it, if we had a won, we would have been level on Spurs with a game in hand, for that 4th spot. So it was an opportunity missed, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and we're badly in need of a number 9. If I'm being honest with you, if we don't get anyone in January, you're kind of looking at Martial to come in and go up top. Hopefully, he might start him on Sunday. He might be fit enough. I know he's been on the bench the last while, obviously coming back from the injury, but we'd be relying on him.
Do you see him going strong enough on Thursday against Villa in the Cup?
I don't know. I think actually one player I wanted to mention, Van de Beek. Like, what's the story with him? We've spoken about him how many times in this, saying he needs opportunities, getting the opportunities now, and he's not taking advantage of them at all.
I've come to the realization with him that I just think he's a poor player.
Yeah,
I think he was made look good in a really, really good Ajax team, and I think he's come into the Premier League, and he has to be. They put him in there like as if he's that talisman, and he can't handle it, and he doesn't bring it, being that guy out there, So I don't know. I just don't think he's that good a player, to be honest. I think he's had plenty of chances and stuff like that, So
I think he'll probably go with Garnacho and stuff like that on Thursday. Martial might even start. You never know. Probably play the likes of Sancho as well. Maybe give him a little, because obviously he needs a goal and a bit of confidence going into Sunday. Hopefully,
Sancho's back. Is he? Was he suspended or was he injured?
I think he had a knock.
He was out the other day, wasn't he? Yeah.
I think was it him or no? I think was he on the bench or did he pick up a knock and try? I was reading about him earlier.
Yeah.
But listen, I think he'll make a few changes on Thursday, but I think. I'd like to see a few of the younger lads given a chance, and then obviously with the tough game against Fulham on Sunday, we have to think about that.
Yeah. Back in again, Acers. Ronaldo should go to the MLS after the World Cup. I don't know if you've seen the MLS the other day. I sent it into our group the other day. That final with Bale.
Oh,
Wow.
Bale, the last minute.
Wow.
Yeah,
Did you see the
that,
crowd?
Yeah.
You know, people
unreal,
talk
man.
about like the States, they don't even know what soccer is and stuff like that, or football, I should say. But like that crowd was unbelievable. Like, and there was a huge crowd at it as well. Like, and to see him and Chiellini and all those boys, you know, really reminded me of going back watching all Italian football or something like that. It was serious. Like,
it's great. It's great to see, like, because I remember my dad's football team were playing a tournament over in Boston in 2000, and we went to the Foxborough Stadium. Ireland were playing USA in the Emerald Cup. We went there, and I'd say there was about 1,000 Irish fans there, and there was not one American fan there, like, you know. And now to see the way it's changed, obviously, a friend of mine used to play with the Seattle Sounders, got an injury, but he was telling me, like, it's picking up over there. Obviously, it was always about the women, but since the like of Beckham and Keane and Landon Donovan done well over in Europe and came back across and stuff, it's really, really kicked off, so and it's great to see.
And the fact that the national team is doing so well as well, like it draws eyes on it and stuff like that.
And not only that, because if you know yourself from being over there at the wrestling and stuff, the stadiums over there are unbelievable, out of this world. Like, even in Boston, we went to a college stadium and it held 20,000, and you're looking like, this is a college stadium. League of Ireland, you only get 2,000, 3,000 seater. Like, it's crazy.
The Michigan one is the biggest one, isn't it? Their college stadium, I think, holds 110,000 or something. It's just all stepped. It's absolutely monstrous, like, for a college stadium, and they pack it out every college season, like Michigan State and stuff like that. Yeah, it's absolutely massive.
We're in the wrong business.
You know, you're on the wrong podcast for Ian Kelly. Ian is on Dynamo's Dozen and the Chelsea Roar, and occasionally jumps on here. So you're on the wrong one if you're looking for Ian. What's up next then? We have Southampton versus Newcastle. Wow.
Yeah. Almiron again in form, wasn't he?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's unbelievable. And obviously Wilson had a good first half, but obviously went off injured.
Rowan wants you to read out the score from the 7th game on the list.
You know me, I'm a referee. I can't count, bro. You know, when I'm doing those 10 yards and all, so I don't know what the South is.
He has to be on boys.
Chelsea, is it? You stick to being a supervisor, bro. And like that result obviously costs the governor his job. It's you know, I'm looking at it here today. Nathan Jones been linked with it, which, man, what the hell? Like, he left Luton to go to Stoke the first time round, and obviously my uncle Jez is a season ticket holder at Stoke, so I always keep a close eye on him. He was brutal at Stoke, man. You know, they were drawing too many games. When Stoke were losing, there was no plan B with Nathan Jones. And then he was sacked himself, and then he went back to Luton, and he's done a really good job with them. You know, got them into the semi-finals of the playoff last season. Has them playing some good stuff. There's some good players down there. Kenilworth Road is again one of those old school grounds that's really hard to go to and play, but I don't think he's a Premier League manager. I can't see it. Like, you know, when I first seen the Southampton job was available today, 2 names have popped into my head. One is you and Dino's mate, Sean Dyche, and the other one was Scott Parker. You know, Scott Parker's not, you know, he's out of work. I thought he done a good job with Fulham and Bournemouth, and it'd be a project there that he'd be really good at seeing through. But Nathan Jones, it's after coming from right field, and I can't see it. I just can't see it.
Do you know what it is? I was talking with Darren about this today, and I think, in fairness to Ralph, I think the governor, I think he's done a real good job over the 4 years, because every off season, if you like, every close summer season, they've sold off the crown jewels on him when he's trying to get something going, and he's kept them in there. I prefaced it last Thursday by saying they're in a very low position, and if you remember last year, they were quite high up on the table, and they tumbled right down. And I said to Darren, they're starting from a very low base this year, and if they tumble right down, they're tumbling into the bottom 3. They're in serious trouble, and that's what happened. But I think with the governor, I think if they do, they're probably going to end up having to go spend money this year. And if they go spend money, I feel kind of a bit sad for the governor, really, because I thought he should be the guy who has the opportunity to go spend the money, seeing as the club sold off all his players over the last 3 or 4 years, and he's had to kind of worked with a makeshift kind of thing. And Darren also mentioned today, if you take out the likes of Danny Ings, we were doing the draw for the Champions League and we were talking about it. And he says, if you take Danny Ings out, it was maybe 12 or 15 goals a season. That really hurts a team like Southampton losing those type of goals.
Absolutely.
If they don't have a backup for it. So, yeah. So,
No,
look, we wish Ralph well. I'm not sure they'll push the button on it. Do you think they might not wait until they see how the World Cup unfolds and stuff like that and all? Because I just think...
I think they will. Like, you look at Bournemouth, Gary O'Neill's been in charge there for how many weeks now, you know, they're obviously biding their time and stuff like that. And maybe they might do that.
Wolves took 3 months.
Exactly, yeah. I just don't see the Nathan Jones one. I've watched a lot of him in the Championship as a manager. And I can't see him being a Premier League manager. I really can't. And listen, it's obviously Southampton's previous form. I think if you look at it on the day, 4-1 against Newcastle are in unreal form at the minute. It's not the worst of results in terms of that, but obviously it was the position. I think this time last year they were probably around 9th or 10th, if I'm right. And now you look at them in the relegation there, you know, with 12 points after 14 games. It's not good for anyone, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say the last time I seen Nathan Jones, I think The Undertaker was burying him in WWE. That's the last time I seen Nathan Jones.
It's just mad.
West Ham, what can we say about Newcastle, though? Newcastle, Eddie Howe doing a fantastic job, isn't he?
Unbelievable. I know Trippier went off injured as well, didn't he? Wilson was injured, but I don't think the Trippier one is that bad. Listen, the Bruno Almiron, they're playing some unbelievable stuff. Pope is pulled off a few good saves there the other day. I know he was shaky for a few weeks as well, but Eddie Howe, what he's done there in the last year or so has just been unbelievable. January has been unbelievable.
Could you see them sustaining a top 4? If they might probably go into the market again in January, won't they, to strengthen?
Yeah. I can't see why not. The only thing, obviously, Wilson has picked up a few injuries this season so far, and I wouldn't be relying on Chris Wood to get me too many goals, if I've been honest with you.
Yeah, scored a cracker the other day, though.
He
took
did.
His goal
he
well
did.
The other day, in fairness, though. For a tall lad who's normally a set-piece header of the ball, that was a lovely goal from him. I think if you've seen the celebration, he actually shocked himself. He couldn't realise himself.
Now, in fairness, he did score a few like that for Burnley, but there were few and far between. But I just think if Wilson is injured, I wouldn't be relying on Wood to get me those type of goals, all week in, week out. But definitely they'll be there or thereabouts, 100%. And don't forget, they're not playing in Europe, where a lot of the teams around them are, so that will give them advantage coming into the new year as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Acers reckons Newcastle top 4 guarantee. Could be. Just depends on how much they strengthen and stuff like that. Like, if they get an up front guy, a decent guy who can score goals and remain injury free, then they've a great chance.
Don't get me wrong, I love Callum Wilson. I think he's a great player, but he's had a bit too many injuries over the last.
Another one who's been out in the press touting himself for the England squad as well, quite vocal and stuff like that. And then
because I know. Did you and Dazzler have a little kind of not argument, but about him and Tony, wasn't it? Was that on Thursday talk?
Yeah, I said I'd bring Tony prior to the gambling, whatever that is. And Darren said he'd bring Wilson because Wilson's more of a poacher, and Tony. He said maybe Tony because of more of his all over play. But Wilson because of his poaching, that England don't have that natural poacher in the box.
Yeah, he'd be the type of player to come on.
We could see both sides of it, yeah. So if you had the choice, who would you? If you had the choice, if you had the choice, you put a bet myself. If you had a choice, who would you be bringing? Who would you pick?
I'd like both of them, but you know what? I think I'd like Tony. I don't know. I like him as a player. I think he brings that something different. He can score all sorts of goals. He's good in the air, and I'd give him an opportunity.
Great for a penalty shootout as well. Just saying.
Absolutely.
Don't forget that as well. West Ham and Palace. Palace with the late show, 94th minute.
It's
these late goals.
Don't mention Brentford. But Palace Vieira has them. Really, really good form there. I know they were away, but yourself and Daz have been talking about Selhurst Park. It's become a fortress for them, But Eze, Zaha, you look at the players that they have there.
Elise.
At least, yeah. Even Edward, I know he came from Celtic. He got two on
Yeah.
his debut, but he kind of whittled off a bit. But he's coming into form, and he's we talked about IU. He's getting in on the act with a few assists, which you rarely used to see from him. You know, so Vieira has been playing some really good stuff. Anderson at the back as well, as he looks a player. He can. That's very true.
Acers reckons England will be home after the semi-finals. I tell you, there's a lot of people in our WhatsApp group and in our circle talking about England potentially not even getting out of the group.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the final game, Tottenham 1, Liverpool 2. Talking about a game of two halves, my God. Unbelievable.
And you know, I was delighted. I put Salah in my team. I took Song out, obviously he was injured, and I put Salah in, and he banged in 2 goals, so I was delighted with that. But
absolutely.
What did you think of it yourself, Buzz?
I thought the first half, we were really, really good. And patches in the first half, we let Spurs, again, give them a bit too much respect and stuff like that. Second half, I don't know what's going on. We came out and it was like as if we just went into ourselves again. It was like as if we were questioning ourselves and stuff. A lot of people talking about how Salah was dusted and stuff like that. I think he's excellent. He takes his goals really, really well and stuff like that. That one from Dyer. I thought the goal we gave up to Kane, I thought we could have dealt with it a lot better. When Kulichevsky came on, we knew he was going to be the danger. He's an excellent player. But you know what it is? It's not about us or about them. It's Conte, I think, is costing them points now in the way he goes about his business and sets them up. He has so many players there. Like you see the likes in that last 15 minutes when they're really pushing for the draw. And, you know, Bentancur's getting forward and all. He had 2 great chances with 2 headers. Yeah. One he was so unlucky with, and one he just didn't get to the flick one right at the death.
Yeah.
And I just think if you just give these guys a bit of a license to play and take the shackles off them, I think he'll get rewarded with much better results and stuff like that. That's a really good Tottenham team at the moment that I think is being shackled through either formation or through coaching or through drilling or whatever it is. So it's just a weird one with them and stuff like that, you know. But I think with Conte, I think it's more him than it is the players, you know. It must be horrific for Kane.
He looks a broken man at the minute, doesn't he, though? You see him on the sideline and stuff like that. But I will say, from a Liverpool point of view, I thought the player that made a big difference for you having him there is Konate. He's unbelievable. Like he's a completely different team with him, isn't it? I think, you know.
Yeah, he covered for Trent so many times, even first half and stuff like that. When balls had broke through and stuff like that, he was there sniffing it out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But what I really like about him, and it's not often something that we talk about as central defenders, is the way he takes the ball out as well, and he's always looking for a positive pass. And even at times he bypasses the midfield. And he sends a ball into Firmino, or he sends a ball into Nunez and stuff like that. And it just opens people up. And what it does is it triggers our counter-attacks so much quicker than if you see with Virgil. Virgil is a lot safer in possession. So he'll go to Robbo, back into him, maybe into Thiago, back into him. Konate is always looking to play that real positive killer ball. And more often than not, like he gets it as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like he's wasting possession or offering it up and stuff like that, you know. So
exactly.
He's really very like Matip as well. Matip plays like that as well, takes the ball out of defence and is always looking to be very positive going forward with it. So but it must be great playing beside him as well, because you know you're there, like you know he's rock solid, like, you know, so it must give you that comfort feeling as well. But I have to say, that second half we look really, really shaky. Really, really shaky. So, but look, we'll take the 3 points. It was a massive 3 points.
You would have taken that to start, like.
Yeah, and then we've Southampton at the weekend, Derby midweek in the Carabao Cup, and then Southampton to round out this set of fixtures before the World Cup. So, hopefully we can do the business against Southampton, who are managerless at the moment and struggling. And if we can get those 6 points, that'll be huge for us. And then hopefully get a few players back during that downtime and stuff like that, and maybe a few signings in January. We will get on to talk about the sale and stuff like that and the impact that might have. But that rounds out your Premier League review of the weekend. Just going back, Arsenal, Man City, Newcastle, Tottenham occupying the top 4 spots. And, of course, down the bottom, Southampton have dropped into the bottom 3. Wolves are there. And Forest, even gaining that point with the late show, keeps them rooted to the bottom still. Let's get in and talk now. Champions League draw. Don't know if you caught this today. Myself and Darren were on. We covered it today. It was fairly interesting. Straight out of the back, you had Leipzig versus Man City, which wouldn't necessarily be the draw they might have wanted. Leipzig are a tough old team. They've got some really good players there, the likes of Nkunku and all, who's really, really talented. I think Chelsea are trying to sign him. So City will have their hands full with Leipzig. I still think they should get through.
They should over the
reasonably comfortable.
They should over the 2 legs. I think the first leg, Leipzig at home.
Yeah,
it'd be tight. But I think then in the Etihad, I think it'd be game over. Be City all the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Liverpool versus Real. Probably the worst draw we could have got.
Yeah.
But again, this isn't until February, so we should have a full squad back at that stage, and maybe a sprinkling of signings, depending on what happens with the talk today of this sale and stuff like that. So you never know. The only thing I would have preferred is if we had them at Anfield for the second leg rather than the first. That's the only thing. But apart from that, I'm all good with it. Spurs ended up getting where are Spurs? AC Milan. That should be. Yeah, that Spurs should be okay there, shouldn't they? AC Milan, if you look at the 2 games against Chelsea, they were pretty poor.
They were, but like you're looking at the round of 16 now and you're thinking they'll have to up their game, Obviously, I remember when I seen the draw, do you remember 2011, Gareth Bale's goal in the San Siro, man?
Yeah.
Unreal. But I think Conte will have to, like, you're looking after the World Cup. Hopefully, obviously, Son will be back. Say Kane isn't injured. I think they'll do it over 2 legs. I think they will. Just about over the 2 legs. I don't think it'd be as easy as Chelsea had it against AC Milan.
Yeah, well, if you look at Spurs in the group stage as well, nothing has been easy for them either. But you would think eventually they're going to have to snap out of this kind of dark cloud that's over them at the moment in the way they play so negative. And I think eventually, especially on a 2-legged affair like this, when you get to this stage, you have to open up. You have to start playing. You have to try, especially if you're away the first leg, you have to try and put a score on the board there, something to take back home and stuff like that, Chelsea got Dortmund.
Seeing that, this is one that depends what Chelsea show up for the 2 legs, isn't it? Because we've seen them this season. Now listen, we all love Potter as a manager. It's gonna be the first time he'd be in the knockout stage in Europe managing. So it's gonna be interesting to see what he's gonna do. Obviously, you've Jude Bellingham for Dortmund, who is such a threat. Yous have been linked with him.
The world has been linked with him.
The world. Yeah. And no doubt he will be sold because obviously they usually only let one player go this summer, and Haaland went last summer, so you'd expect them to sell him and get big money. But do you know what? I fancy Dortmund over the 2 legs, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah, I fancy Chelsea, and I'll tell you why I fancy Chelsea, because I think Potter might be supported in the January window to bring in a couple of players.
Yeah. If you can get a striker in as well, that isn't Aubameyang.
And I would assume at that stage as well, he'll probably have Reece James and Chilwell back. So if he has them back, because obviously losing both those players is absolutely massive. But I think where he's having a problem at the moment, I don't know if you watched the game the other day, their midfield just looks like jello, doesn't it? Their midfield, Jorginho and all in there. Until they bring Kovacic on, they're really out of that midfield there. There's no Boyd. Obviously, Kante's out injured. But Jorginho just kind of looks a bit lost, doesn't he? He looks a shadow of the player that he was.
Are you still a big fan of his, cuz?
Yeah, well, I was a big fan of his, and I thought, to me, he was an excellent player. That season he had prior to the Ballon d'Or and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's like as if being surrounded in that area of the Ballon d'Or and stuff like that has kind of got to him a little bit. He just hasn't seen. I haven't seen a performance from him in a long time where I can turn around and go, that's a real good performance from Jorginho and stuff like that. He used to be a commander in there who'd be pulling the strings and dictating the game. Now they go by him like he doesn't even exist. And I hope I'm not being too harsh on him there if Chelsea fans are listening in. But I think that midfield needs a lot of work there. I think that's where they're losing games. Obviously, Aubameyang and stuff like that. I mean, you know what you're getting with him. Like he'll be brilliant maybe twice in a month or something like that. But again, if you look at him the other day as well, he was kind of starved of any service, really. Sterling seems to be sort of out of odds as well a little bit, doesn't he? He just seems to
Yeah.
flatter to the save and stuff like that. He always seems like he's doing an awful lot on the pitch, but not producing an awful lot.
Enough, yeah.
You know, he's like one of these players that looks really, really busy doing nothing.
Nothing, yeah.
You know, that kind of way. And you kind of, he comes off the pitch and you're trying to figure out, like, did he have a good game? Did he have a bad game? What did he have there? Because he's so busy in the game, but not producing an awful lot. You know what I mean? So
you used to see him getting to the byline and hitting into the 6-yard box for the likes of Aguero to tap in and stuff, but it hasn't happened for Chelsea. And I think with Jorginho, I think if he goes off and he can have a good World Cup and bring that confidence back to Stamford Bridge after the World Cup in January, I think he might be a different player. That's what I'm thinking, but you know, it's not always the case.
You see them, they're pinning their hopes on Conor Gallagher as well, and Broja and all. And you know, you look at these players like Gallagher last year for Palace, he was outstanding.
Yeah.
You know, but that's a certain level where you're going to look a certain way. And Broja at Southampton was brilliant as well. And again, it's at a certain level and stuff like that. So you bring them back, and they've kind of brought them in. Broja hasn't really looked like the Broja of Southampton, let's say, which is fine. And Gallagher as well hasn't looked anything like the Gallagher of Crystal Palace. He seems to get into more trouble and more hassle on the pitch than he does actually bringing any benefits of that. And I seen the two boys coming on the other day against Arsenal, and they didn't get into the game at all. They had no influence in the game whatsoever.
It's hard. It's hard for them as well, because you know yourself, Gallagher with Palace, Broja with Southampton, they were playing week in, week out, every minute for them two teams respectively. Now they're getting minutes here, minutes there, and it's hard for them to get into it, you know. And it was always going to be the case because Chelsea have a big enough squad, and you can't see Gallagher starting week in, week out, or Broja. No disrespect for them, but when they were with Palace and Southampton and they were playing, they were unbelievable.
Yeah, it just seems like when Potter came in, it was kind of interesting. It was kind of exciting to see what he would do and stuff like that. Yeah, but it seems like I thought when he came in, there'd be a certain amount of work he'd have to do. But it seems when you look at Chelsea every week, more questions seem to come up than answers. And it seems like he has a lot of work to do there to become what we would call a Graham Potter side. If that's what Chelsea want to be and that's what Chelsea fans want to be. I think Potter's looking at a lot of these guys and he's thinking, that's not for me. That's foreign. I mean, if you look at the way Brighton play and you look at the way they set up, he just doesn't have the tools in that toolbox of Chelsea to set up and play that way. So he's kind of trying to half play that way, and that's where it kind of falls down.
And he could be waiting for January to put his own stamp on things then, and then we might see a different Chelsea after the World Cup.
Yeah, Ian, I was back in the comments. I think Liverpool will play a good game. I certainly hope so, Ian. I certainly hope so. We definitely own Madrid 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 at this stage, looking at it. But yeah, it was an interesting draw. I'd imagine City will be fine. I'd imagine Spurs will be fine. And I think Chelsea will be fine pending signings. Obviously, Bayern and PSG is one of the plum toys as well. That's an interesting one. That's a good toy. Obviously, ourselves and Real stick out there as well, and I think Man City and Leipzig is a real good toy as well. But yeah, interesting. Let's look at the Europa. Have a quick one. This was an interesting one. I don't know if you caught this draw today. Did you?
I didn't. Did you
catch the draw?
I didn't see it live. I was getting updates off. Keno text me as well. Keno text me say about the draw, but I couldn't believe it. I had a feeling.
Forget about the feeling, right? I want you to go after the show if you get a chance. Have a look at the draw and let me know, right? Yeah. Barcelona got drawn out straight away, right? Yeah. And then you know the way they go along to the buckets and they pick out the balls that are applicable to Barcelona. And the last ball he dropped in the bucket was the Man United ball from whatever pocket they were in, right? And when he dropped the ball in, the other lad was looking over your man's shoulder. Now, I'm not saying anything here. I have no proof of anything here. And they swirled the balls around. And you know the way they swirl the balls around? They keep one of the balls kind of in their hand and all the others swirl. And your man went straight in, picked it out.
United. I didn't see that now.
And it was United. And it looked to me as if it was very clear which ball in the bowl was the United ball. And that's the one that your man looked down and looked in. I thought he's not even supposed to look into the ball when he's picking the ball.
Yeah, when he's picking out.
But he looked right into the ball and went straight for that ball. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but have a look at it later now. And you know me, tinfoil hat, conspiracy theory.
No, listen, there's been theories like that for years. People were saying like years ago, did one of the balls, say one of the bigger say top 4 teams look the same but have a different texture on it.
Yeah.
So when you're feeling it, you know which one. Now,
or there's a weight in it, the way it moves or something like that. Yeah.
There used to be loads of stuff going on about that.
But this, I just thought today, this looked very obvious, and Mark Goldbridge off the United stand, he picked up on it as well, and I went back and looked at it again because I didn't pick it up the first time. But when you actually go back and look at it with that in your mind, and just see he was looking over your man's shoulder and all, placing the balls in, and it looked as if the last ball that he dropped in, he didn't drop all the balls in together. He had the balls and he was putting them in. But the last ball that went in looked like it was the United ball from the pot that they were in. But have a look and see what you think. In terms of the toy, I mean, it's the only toy really there that stands out to me. I suppose Sevilla PSV would stand out as well. But what do you think, Barca?
Oh, yeah, like I said, I had a feeling it was going to happen. We said on the little video that I sent you earlier, possibly both of us aren't the same what we used to be. I remember being over in Old Trafford in '94 with my dad for the Champions League game for Mario playing for Barcelona. We camped in our front, man. They were wearing their green Kappa jerseys, and you look back and you think of the 2011 final, 2009, and it's going to be a tough game. Tough 2 games. Barcelona, to me, they're not the team they used to be. We're not going to go in and fear them. I think we're going to beat them over the 2 legs. I really do. I was obviously hoping for Salzburg, May playing for them, but sure, what can you do?
Do you know something? Yeah, or I would have thought Ajax would have been a good one against Ten Hag, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
that would have been an interesting one. Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of the talk we spoke about this morning during the live draw was like, especially for Liverpool's options there, the narrative had wrote itself. Because Benfica was Nunes, Porto was Diaz, Real Madrid was obviously the final last year, and Bayern Munich would have been Sadio Mane. So the narrative was written there. So with this Barcelona one, the narrative is written there in terms of Frankie de Jong and all the crap that went on and stuff like that. But Darren made very good points today. He says it'll be interesting de Jong getting his first look at Old Trafford and stuff like that. And he also made the point as well. He wondered whether Barcelona will still be around at that stage because apparently they're in trouble again. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on there. And
how much can La Liga let them away with this sort of crap? Like
La Liga will let them away with everything because I firmly believe that if Barcelona do a Juve and go down to the second tier or whatever it is, I think La Liga will go bust.
Yeah.
I reckon La Liga solely relies on Barcelona and Real Madrid, and they prop up, as far as I know, and quote me if I'm wrong, it must be at least 80% of the finances and the broadcasting rights in La Liga. Has to be.
100%, because you look at the teams in the Segunda, the league below it, that get fines, every season, that some fines they can't even afford to pay, that might put them into administration. And then you look at Barcelona getting away with this, and they're getting away with it for so long, and you're thinking, there's definitely something going on there. But I suppose without Barcelona, you don't have El Clasico, and you don't have La Liga.
And that must be a massive side of the broadcasting rights that gets paid to La Liga and stuff like that. But I just think it's weird as well. You're saying it there even in the summer where they were struggling. They 13 players that hadn't been registered, and then all of a sudden 2 days before La Liga starts, all these 13 players are suddenly registered. You know what I mean? Like money just came out of nowhere. It's crazy, and it is. And we did mention it that even when they were signing these players, it was like they were creating a false economy to send a message to the footballing world and stuff like that. But I just firmly believe that La Liga are just they're the slaves really to Barcelona and Real Madrid. I mean, outside of that, what have you got in there? You've got Villarreal, we're good for a while. Valencia, we're good for a while.
Let's go.
Deportivo, we're good for a while. Sevilla, but there's not a lot there in terms of the broadcasting rights. It's like if you think about the early days of the broadcasting rights in the Premier League, it was Man United and Arsenal and all. You know what I mean? They probably carried it for years. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But like you were saying, those teams, the likes of Deportivo, even Malaga, when Malaga were bought over, they brought in the likes of Van Nistelrooy and stuff like that. They were kind of competing with them, not fully, but like they'd give them a game. But now there's nothing there, nothing at all. Like,
absolutely. It's so weird. Acer's back in the comments. Frankie de Jong will eliminate United easily. Who knows the way this thing pans out? Frankie de Jong might be done in a United jersey. Who knows the way these things are going? If they collapse out there, these guys will be looking for homes very, very quickly. Chelsea might even get Lewandowski. They wanted him. Who knows?
They need him.
Yeah, but the rest of the job was interesting. I was watching a show today. There was a guy, United fan, covering the draw for the Europa League. I think he's the Flying Pig United or something like that on Twitter. So he's a gas fucker. He's lunatic on the watch-alongs and stuff like that. No, but he was going down through the draw today, and it was Barcelona, Man United, and he was going. I fucking knew what all this kind of thing. I knew it was going to happen. And as he was going down through the draw, it came to Ajax versus Union Berlin, and Shakhtar there versus Rennes, and he was going, and Sporting versus Midtjylland as well. He turns around to the camera and he goes, God, there's some god awful fucking shite teams in this Europa League, and it was just hilarious. He just said it out of nowhere, like, you know what I mean? But it was hilarious.
You look at it actually is when you look at some of the teams there. No disrespect to them, but the likes of Union Berlin and stuff like that. From that kind of point of view, you think the Barcelona, they want to keep both Barcelona and Man United in the competition for as long as possible. Yeah. But these are
you got to remember, this is a snapshot of the second best teams in the Europa League.
Yeah,
because these are playing the 2 extra games to get to the next round.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's a weird one for me, that Europa League. The drop off is massive. You know what I mean? You think about it, you look at that there. You wouldn't have expected Ajax, Juve, Sporting, Sevilla, and Barcelona to bundle out of the Champions League the way they did. No. So you can imagine how worse it could have been. At least, like, you can look forward to watching something there with some of those teams that are in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's get into some of the news then to round out the show. I picked out a few things there. Obviously, Ralph getting the sack, we've already spoke about it and stuff. FSG put Liverpool up for sale. This broke today about an hour after the draw. I had spoke about this about 3 weeks ago and hinted at it on a couple of the Shankly Session shows as well, that I felt, and I was on a couple of Dave's LFC chats and stuff like that, doing shows as well. And one of the things I said was, I wonder, are they not investing and holding back because they're on the cusp of a sale?
Yeah. Which would make sense.
Which would make sense. And a lot of people were saying, no, that can't be the case. Why would they sell it and stuff like that? And I was thinking, well, it cost them 300 million. It's valued at 5 billion now. Why wouldn't they sell it? And clearly football is not something they want in their portfolio. So they don't really care enough, you know.
What was yourself and Dino thinking when the news broke today?
Dino would be very happy because Dino's very anti-FSG.
Yeah.
I'm kind of against FSG, but I think from a commercial point of view, and if you think about where we were to where we are now from a financial situation, I think we're very, very strong. I mean, we've gone from a valuation of 300 million to 5 billion. We're a much more attractive proposition now. We have an unbelievable training facility. We have an unbelievable stadium at the moment that's expanding all the time. Now, albeit they're loans to Liverpool Football Club from FSG. It's not necessarily FSG putting their hand in their pocket. Liverpool are paying for those things.
Yeah.
But I do think in those areas, in terms of commercial partnership, I think in terms of a lot of the charity work they do and stuff like that, I think they're really, really strong, supporting the community there and stuff like that. At times in some decisions, they've lost their way, trying to trademark the name, trying to up the season tickets, you know, the European Super League, all these kind of things where they forgot culturally about what Liverpool is about, similar to Man United and Manchester. But I think overall, commercially, I think they've been exceptional. I think where they've fallen down is, Dino says it all the time, they had the chance to create a dynasty, and they let the squad stagnate, and that's I don't know whether you can lay all that at FSG's door. I think Klopp as a manager could have been a little bit stronger in that area and demanding what he wanted and stuff like that, and also coming to the realization that players were aging, players were injury prone, all that kind of stuff. So there's a portion of blame there to be taken across a number of characters, but I think that's where they've really let us down. I think if they had taken, you know, some of the wealth that they generated and the Nike deals and all that kind of stuff and reinvested it in the squad at an early stage, so the likes of Hendo could you know, release gracefully with people under him there. Milner the same, you know, these players are getting on a bit and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And you can't, what they've done is they've gone back to the NutriBullet and they're just juicing juiced oranges already, basically trying to squeeze the last bit out of them. And I think that's where they've fallen down. So I'm
and it's not Hendo Milner's fault either. They're still trying to do a job when they get a chance, you know.
No, well, you look at James Milner, who I think is a fantastic pro. Nothing against him at all. But I'm sure when he signed his 1 year extension there last year, or in the summer, whenever it was, I'm sure he was thinking, you know, a handful of substitution appearances to wind down the clock and put points on the board, and probably a Carabao Cup and FA Cup appearances and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, through injuries and various things like that, he was suddenly thrust in as a starter and stuff like that, which is not what was on the cards originally. So I don't hold the blame on him at all.
No, and he's been put in every position possible on the pitch as well, and he does the job, you know.
And there's one thing you can say about James Milner above any other player. James Milner, when he walks on the pitch, will always give you 110%. Whether he's still at that level to be able to maintain in the Premier League and against those top players and stuff, that's a different argument. But there's no lack of desire on James Milner. He's one of the fittest guys in the squad, and he'd certainly give you 110%. He's an incredible player and has been an incredible pro in all the clubs he's been at. But yeah, I just think there's sort of a level of excitement about it, but then it's kind of, who are we going to get? Who's going to buy it? And then I suppose if you're looking, I mean, Dino was saying to me earlier on WhatsApp that the Qatari family had been linked with buying it and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking in terms of the Premier League, how many of these teams can they allow fall into the ownership of these different regions?
Yeah.
And how dangerous is that in terms of the control that it has? So you see Man City there now, you see Newcastle, you know, Chelsea obviously have gone in with the Bowley group and stuff like that. And then I was kind of thinking maybe, you know, if Liverpool went into, like, say, a Bezos, who owns Amazon, if it went into his control, he's obviously has all the money in the world to do it and stuff like that. Would you then see a situation where the Liverpool games would be on the Amazon Prime network and all that kind of stuff? And does that fit in? And are we going to get to a situation eventually where a lot of these teams have high-level ownership, but the matches are shown on all these different platforms or something like that? And is that the way it's going to evolve? So who knows? So it's interesting and it's exciting. I have heard rumors today on a couple of channels that I follow and stuff like that, that they are definitely going to bring in either 1 or 3 potential players in January, and they'll be decent signings apparently. But I don't know. I haven't been given the names or anything like that, but definitely it's been spoke about, and the information's generally good. And apparently they're going to sign players in the summer as well. And I don't believe for a minute the talk coming out tonight that FSG are looking for investors, but they want to stay involved. I think FSG will shed Liverpool out of their portfolio and they'll cash in on it now and move on. Jim Ratcliffe. Jim Ratcliffe will buy Liverpool.
He's a United fan, eh? So he's a United fan. He's been linked with us for the last while, like, you know.
Yeah, I think he was. Was he involved when Liverpool were in trouble in the court that time and FSG bought it? I think he might have been humming around at that stage as well. I'm not too sure. But he's been talking to the Glazers heavily and stuff like that. And all. Sure, he did an interview saying he was talking to them in the summer and stuff like that. So I doubt that's gonna. He can be good friends with FSG, but I'd be very surprised if that
I can't see that one happening.
No, I think he'll hold out for United, and eventually he'll get some share of United. At some stage off the Glazers. The next one up, Strictly Come Dancing viewers are furious at Arsenal fans and Tony Adams. I think Tony Adams on it is, like, his dancing is horrific, but he's brilliant. He's brilliant.
No, myself, Yvonne, and the girls, that's our thing. Every Saturday night we sit down and watch it, and like, fair play to him. He's in some condition for his age. Like, he's fairly well calm.
I seen the one there the other day where he whipped the bottoms off and everything. And he had the red shorts on him.
I had to laugh. I said it to Yvonne there. Did you see on Saturday night he was pretending to be a DJ at the start of the dance, and he does this little dance in the dance floor, and I said that's like a drunk uncle at a wedding, you know? That's
100%. Like, but I think the natural Strictly fans are going mad because it looks as if the Arsenal fan base are propping up the vote.
Right, but listen, you have like, obviously, I'll out myself as a Strictly fan now, but every year you have a character like that gets far. You know, that's a boy. But we're waiting now 2 weeks because the Do you know where it's going to be in 2 weeks?
No.
Sunny Blackpool.
Oh, very good.
Every year they do 1 week where they do it from the Tower Ballroom. So that's going to be in 2 weeks. Myself and Nicole love watching it because obviously our love for Blackpool and stuff like that. But yeah, every year they had Anne Widdecombe there. They've had a few other people. There's always one that's a really bad dancer will get far in the competition. So I don't know what they're giving out for.
Yeah, Acer's back in absolute garbage. Is he not a Strictly fan? You're not a Strictly fan, Acers, are you not?
Acer, we all have our little guilty pleasures, man.
I'm not a Strictly fan either. I don't watch it either. The other one that came up today was doubts raised over Qatar's promise of carbon neutral World Cup. And when I was thinking about this, and the more you think about it, how are they going to arrive at carbon neutral when you think about the amount of fans that are going to be going there, the amount of flights that have to fly in and fly out, all the building work that they've had to do in a very short space of time, and everything else that goes with that in terms of industry? It'd be very hard to achieve a carbon neutral World Cup, wouldn't it?
It's like you look at all the new train stations they built close to the stadiums, and like you said, all the work that's gone on and stuff like that. It's not possible at all. There's no way. Listen, they're trying to promote it as this kind of goodwill thing, but it's never going to happen.
Yeah, they were saying 52. I was looking at today. They were allocating 52% of it was to the flights, the volume of flights that will be going in. And then 25 or 26% of it was allocated to the construction work. But the construction work has been massive. They've literally had to build nearly every stadium that's going to be used.
There was a YouTuber, Simon Wilson, over there a few weeks ago, and they were still... Like, some of the stadiums look like building sites outside still.
He's back in. I'd rather watch paint drying than dancing shows.
Acers must be...
Even with Tony Adams on it.
Acers must be an X Factor fan, so is he?
Yeah. Do you know who I think? Do you know who I think would be brilliant on Strictly Come Dancing? I was only thinking of it there the other day, actually. No, Jason McAteer. I say it would be classic on Strictly Come Dancing.
He had many a night in coppers on the dance floor in there, him and Kennedy and Bob back in the day.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they were
Bob actually be a good one as well.
Yeah. Were they dancing on top of a police car at one stage in Harcourt Street? Do you remember that?
I wouldn't be surprised. They used to give out vouchers in the system and everything at the end of the night. So and to spin a few quid. I was in there one night and the two boys were giving out like whatever it was at the time, €2 vouchers off a Thursday night or something like that.
Yeah.
And when they were handing out the vouchers, walking by the two boys, they'd signed for Liverpool at this stage. This was just after the World Cup. They'd signed for Liverpool. And I made the point to them walking out. I said, "Is the money at Liverpool not good?" And the two of them just looked at me, you know. But it was funny, like, but I said it to McAteer actually when I was at the Fowler night with McAteer there. And I was talking to him at the bar and I said, which I remember saying you one night in the nightclub, you were giving out passes and stuff like that. And I asked you, was the money not good at Liverpool? And he goes, "It was shite, mate." So, like, it was hilarious, you know. It was good. Go banter with him. I say, if you're ever going to a Robbie Fowler night, make sure McAteer's there. McAteer's brilliant live.
Isn't that other one coming up in the Camden soon?
It was on last week. It was on last week, yeah. Aldo and Fowler. I didn't get the win. I wanted to win, but I didn't get the win, unfortunately, yeah. So yeah, that's
another thing about sorry, cause for coming across you. Another thing about the World Cup, I read something there that the organisers are trying to pay 40 England fans, top England fans, to write like positive tweets and stuff on social media, to kind of, you know, because we know they're getting bad rap over there, the things that you can and cannot do before the games and stuff like that. So they were caught out trying to pay England fans to kind of put good light, shed a bit of good light on the competition, you know. But obviously it's been leaked to the press. So
well, if they want to pay me a few, Bob, I'll gladly do it. I'll tell you why, because I took a punt on a bit of cryptocurrency that's connected with the World Cup and connected with football, on the basis that it might get a massive boost off this World Cup, because I think no matter what goes down on this is going to be promoted as being the best World Cup ever. Yeah. That's what they're going to put it out there as, regardless of what happens. Even if it hits AFCON level, who knows? I think they'll still promote it as the best World Cup ever, and I'm hoping that one way or another I cash in on a bit of crypto on it and stuff like that.
So, Hill's be happy as well.
I haven't told her about it. It's a surprise, as they say. Anything else you wanted to bring up?
Two things I want to mention. I want to say congratulations to a friend of the show. Paulo Sam, the manager of the Ireland under-16s, they won the Victory Shield there in Waterford last week. So I want to say congratulations to Paul and the lads down there. I bumped into Paul there the other week. Obviously, you know, he lives up the road, and he was telling me there's some of the squad that didn't get into it. Some of the players that didn't get into the squad, you want to see the talent. So there's lots of things to come for that under-16 squad. And also, I want to say best of luck to Shells, Super Shells on Sunday in the FAI Cup final against Derry in the Aviva. Hopefully Duffer can go do a job and bring a trophy back to Talbot Park. So
I also want to mention this week as well. It's the anniversary of the passing of Alan McLaughlin. That night in November as well. I was on Twitter there the other day, and I think his daughter Meg is her name. Megan, I think she put up a post on Twitter there, so I put a post up underneath it and stuff like that.
Already. You and Dale done that show a year ago.
Yeah, absolutely. It was heartbreaking. But I just left a little message there. He may be gone, but he's definitely never forgotten and stuff like that. So she appreciated it and she liked it and stuff like that. So I was delighted to do it and stuff like that. Never easy losing a parent.
I will say another thing, cause I won't be on the mashup from the 18th because all referees are going on strike in Dublin from the 18th of November. So,
you mean you'll be on the mashup tomorrow, won't you?
Did you read about it?
No. What's the story there?
All the referees are going on strike from the 18th because the abuse is getting worse from the sidelines and.
See, I haven't seen a lot of. I'm not coaching this season, so I haven't had any interaction at all. You see, so it's getting worse, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. So going on strike from the 18th of November until we've done this before. The FAI have come out with videos to send to clubs. You've probably seen them yourselves. It goes in one ear and out the other. So it's even going on strike. We've done it so many times. Like I remember back in 2016-17 season. I think we were nearly 2 months of strike, and it doesn't really do anything. But listen, you have to try and make a stand. So, we're going on strike then.
I think the only way you're going to resolve it is if you hit clubs in the pocket. I think then they'll have to make a genuine effort to fix it up and stuff like that. But I just think I've seen it myself firsthand, so I know exactly what you're talking about and stuff like that. And it's bad, and especially for a lot of the levels where football is being played at, there's no need for it at all. As you're saying. I told you about the story when I was out on a match and stuff like that, and there was a black ref in the game. He was threatened and had to abandon the game. I had to walk that ref out of a car park. He was going to be lynched, and it nearly got into a really bad situation. Only for an equaliser in me build of my car, and then it all died down. But that was all right. So it was pretty good. But there's just no need for it and stuff like that, and it's really, really bad. Even at such a low level, it's really, really bad. And especially at a time as well, there isn't a lot of referees around. It's hard to get a ref for a game. We had a number of games called off. We couldn't get refs, because refs during the COVID period and stuff like that just decided not to come back. They don't need that grief in their life.
Listen, I've seen it firsthand. I went into my first referee meeting nearly 10 years ago, or whatever it was, 10 or 11 years ago, and there's referees that referee me at schoolboy level still doing it because there's not enough referees out there, and they're calling in lads who are meant to be retired, to come and ref a game, and they're coming doing the leagues a favour by coming back and reffing, and then they're getting dogs abuse because they can't, keep up with play, and you're like, what do you expect? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's bad. So look, they need to figure out something. Obviously, how long is the strike going on for?
Well, there's no set date. Yeah.
Okay, but, so it's indefinite.
Well, usually it's kind of all the clubs get together, on the leagues, the likes of the DDSL and the AUL, and there's a senior league will get together, and hopefully it won't go on for as long as some might think. But you have to take a stand. There's no doubt about it. I've been in a situation where I've had lads follow me into the dressing room and stuff like that. And you're like, lads, I'm doing this on a Saturday morning.
That wasn't obviously your refereeing. You're just a good-looking lad. That's not your refereeing.
I wish.
No, I get you back for all those comments.
That's it. I'll have one on Thursday for you. But yeah, listen, I've had it myself. I'm out there. I've no assistant referees. I've no VAR. I'm out there in the Brickfields or Phoenix or wherever. Yeah. And you're like, lads, I'm only human. I can only judge on what's in front of me. Obviously, you know yourself, goes on the sideline. You have a better view than I do of an offside. I can only do what's in front of me. I'm gonna make mistakes, but listen, the abuse is just absolutely woeful. I used to have two things I used to deal with quick. I know we're coming to the end here, but if someone's shouting abuse at me, I do two things. Go over and say, listen, keep it down. If I wanted to be shouting abuse on a Saturday morning, I stay at home listening to my wife. That was one of them. And if you got a little crack, a smile and all, you kind of crack it. Then I go, then I went out. If doesn't, I go over and say, listen, if you don't shut up, two things are going to happen. You're going to go or I'm going to go. And without me, there's no match. So have a think about that. And then you look around and like the lads are getting embarrassed that their dad is holding up the match on the sideline as well, you know. So, but listen, we'll keep going. And
yeah, the parents, they'll be crazy, don't they? At times, it's amazing. It's amazing how everyone becomes a professional coach and professional footballer by standing on the sideline and stuff like that. No, you know, absolutely. I used to generally just stand there and stay quiet. They always used to give me the flag. I used to have to line, you know. And at times I used to be flagging like crazy, and the ref wouldn't give it and stuff like that. And there was one day, I have to say, I'll give you a story. Like, and I have to say, I was the worst myself. There was one day I threw a flag back at the ref. I got so frustrated. So I'm part to blame on this as well. He did me head in. I was flagging for different calls and stuff like that he clearly couldn't have seen from the other end. And like he wasn't giving any of them. And I just lobbed the flag back at him like that. And I said, look, there's no point me standing here flagging if you're not going to even ask me or take anything that I'm doing. There was one where he gave and it was clearly offside. And it was like he was offside by like 5 yards, and I flagged it. And he didn't give it. He let play go on. And then there was another one where I flagged for a free kick. A guy was outside the box by about 5 yards and he gave a penalty. And then when he gave the penalty, right, while you hear this, when he gave the penalty, right, he spotted the ball on the 18-yard line, not on the penalty spot. And I was flagging and screaming at him, going, what are you doing? And it was just, you know, look, sometimes these things happen. It's absolutely crazy.
But, like, you do get coaches in the heat at the moment. I remember doing a quarter-final. It was an under-18s, and I won't say it was where it was, but the away manager had to go off me because the decision I gave, it was a corner. The lad headed in, but your man on the line the defender tried to kind of punch it out, but it went in, and I gave the goal. And the manager of that defending team wanted me to give a penalty. He said, oh, that should have been a penalty. It was a handball first. So I went over and I said, right, if I give the penalty, you're down to 10 men. I said, I'm after giving the goal. Your player can say, like, I gave a yellow card to the player for the attempt to handball. It wasn't a denying a goal scoring opportunity because, well, he wanted me to give the penalty. And I said, and then he had to think about it. And he was like, all right. I'm like, gosh.
He was looking down the team sheet to see which player it was. He might have wanted him sent off, maybe.
That is true as well. It could have been.
Yeah, now sometimes they get muddled up in their own ideas and stuff like that as well. I do have to say I'm very proud of the fact they never got yellow carded on the side.
Fair play. And I will say, a lot of them don't even know the laws of the game properly as well. So
no, they don't. There's refs like that as well.
Yes.
That works both ways, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
In fairness.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything.
Say nothing. No comment, Your Honour.
Exactly.
Well, listen, cracking show. Great to have you on as always.
Yes,
we'll have to come up with a couple of shows for during the World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we won't have after next Monday. The Monday mashup will be done for about 5 or 6 weeks, I think, duration of the World Cup. So we'll come up with a couple of ideas, maybe World Cup shows or something surrounded that, or combined 11s or whatever it is. Some of those fun shows that we go. So have a think about that during the week and come back to me. As always, folks, if you could like the video on the way out if you're enjoying the content. Also, if you could subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification button. And also check out, we've been dropping a few shorts recently and stuff like that, just fun opinions on stuff that's breaking news and stuff like that. Like today we did, I think, 4 or something like that. We'll be dropping a lot more of them as well as we go along. But there won't be any lack of content over the World Cup. We'll come up with some good fun kind of panel-y type shows to have a bit of crack and stuff like that. Until next time, you'll find us. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. It is the Upper Tier on YouTube. It's the Shankly Sessions for all the Liverpool podcasts. And if you want to contact the show, it's the Upper Tier Podcast at gmail.com. All that remains to be said is thank you to everyone in the chat. Thank you to Marky for being on. And we will be back on, I think I'm back tomorrow, maybe with a Derby preview for my sins and a match reaction on Wednesday. And then Thursday, we'll be back with Thursday Tier Talk to preview the penultimate weekend before the World Cup. Cheers, bro.
Cheers, guys.